This is a Wild Games Production podcast.
You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the Dragon Ball Cup.
Roll for Initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
Roll for Initiative podcast, we're back, volume 8, another episode. This week we're going to be jumping into episode number 2. I'm Vince, sitting with Nick.
Hello, everybody.
And Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to be reviewing Eye of the Beholder, episode 2. So, episode 1, we got the demon Tiamat, and episode 2, the DM is such a dick again, we get a beholder.
Yeah.
At least it's not a wandering monster beholder.
No, that's true.
Well, but still, it's a beholder.
This one...
It's sort of like a beholder.
Yeah, it's kind of like a crappy blow-up beholder or whatever.
Yes, it's a cartoon version. How about that?
Yeah, I have my...
Are we still keeping track of Presto's count of magic done right?
Yes, we're running tally.
Right.
Running tally.
We're at 3. Just letting you know, we're at 3.
Okay, official tally is 3.
Yes.
This episode was written by Hank... How did you pronounce that, Nick?
Soroyan, I think.
Soroyan, and also Mark Evener. That's the name.
Yeah. And Kimmer Ringwald.
Okay, Kimmer. I didn't see that name. I thought it only listed 2 names on my... on my information. So, okay, cool. 3 names. Kim. So this originally aired September 24th, 1983. So we were still the same age. Nobody had a birthday yet, I believe.
No, mine won't be until November.
Mine was in March. I'm 12 still. I'm still the oldest of us. Haha, you got to listen to me.
Okay. Yes, sir. So the episode opens up with them walking in the hot desert sun.
Yep.
It appears to be 3 different suns, if I saw that correctly. Am I right there? Probably.
Yes.
At least 3 different types of suns there.
So not Tatooine.
It looks like it could be. Maybe.
It could be.
So they're all like, it's so hot. We need to take
120
a break.
degrees in the shade. If there was any shade.
Yeah. And the group just basically sits down in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see like sand get thrown in Uni's face, and I'm like, good. That's the only thing I can see in my mind is just good. And she goes in and investigates that. Then we find out a little bit more as the group is back, pretty much bickering back and forth. We found out Eric is rich beyond rich.
Yes.
Didn't he talk something about his limo is so large and how he could fit so many certain things in his pool and stuff like that? And I was just like, damn, this guy was rich.
Being on safari.
Yeah. So then we cut back to Uni, who is being a dummy and finding out why the sand gets smacked in her in the face a bunch of times. And for her troubles, a giant scorpion appears out of nowhere. Random monster? Yeah? No?
No.
You want to roll for that one? Okay, never mind.
Roll for it.
So the group's like, oh crap, a giant scorpion, and they run.
Yeah.
Then we cut to a fat knight. That's the only way I could describe him as a fat knight, because he looks like a fat knight who is chicken because he sees
He looks like Cliff Clavin.
Yes,
with armor.
He does. Yeah. He sees the scorpion and the kids running his way, and he goes, "Oh my!" And he runs into what looks like a cave entrance, but I guess a young blue dragon is chilling out in there.
Now I got to tell you. They did a good job with the blue dragon.
Yeah. He looked like a blue dragon for once.
And it has a breath weapon of lightning bolts.
Yeah. So a young blue... I'm thinking it's young, at least, right? Am I right there?
I don't know.
Middle age? I don't know.
Young adult.
Young adult comes out charging after him, and he goes, zoinks, and he runs off. Come on, you can hear the zoinks in his voice at that point.
Yes.
The group runs past because they kind of got past him as he went into the cave, and they find their own little crack in the side of the mountain to go hide in. And then the Fat Knight runs and then notices the scorpion again, and he goes, "Oh crap!" and he just pretty much goes on the ground in the fetal position.
Well, he doesn't say, "Oh crap."
No, I
It's
know.
a cartoon, but you guys get the idea.
Yeah. And he cowers in fear as the monsters are pretty much go, "No, he's mine. No, he's mine." So they start fighting each other.
Right.
And they have this
Giant
big...
scorpion against blue dragon. It's actually kind of cool sequence.
And they fight and tumble off. And then all of a sudden, like, the group comes back out and goes, "Oh my God, the knight saved us. Thanks for saving the day." And he's like, yeah, yes.
Sure did.
I did do that. And he just goes, "Well, take care, kids." And he just, like, takes off. And they're like, "Wait, but we don't know what your name is." And he's like, "My name is Sir John," and, like, some really weird long title.
Like the toilet.
Yeah. And he has some, like, really weird, like, some weird title of protector of this and that, which I didn't even really get the full title, to be honest, but
No.
not really relevant because he's a big wimp.
Yeah, he's a wuss.
And then all of a sudden they, like, turn around and there's the DM. Says, "Hey, guess what?
Dungeon Master.
I found a way for you to go home. It's to the east. It's really dangerous. It's in a valley of the Beholder." And then he tells the story of why it's called the Valley of the Beholder and how it was once a valley of, I forget the word he used, but
The Valley of the Dolls.
thank you. And I don't know. It was a valley that was once prosperous and everything, but then the Beholder came up and it basically turned it into a big, mushy, disgusting, like, dead world. Like, the Beholder was like a weed in the perfect
Like
garden.
Detroit.
RFI Podcast does not condone the actions that Nick has said on this podcast. If you come from Detroit, we wholly apologize.
I don't.
Okay. Where's that GM sound, Nick? Matt.
Ding! Says the guy from Cleveland.
Yeah, right.
Hey.
And he basically gives them a riddle of what's to come about how they can figure out the situation, about how something along the way, the beauty of the beauty of the brave is going to save them. So they figure, and he does a disappearing act, and Eric goes, "Oh my God, he did it again." And the group deduces that, hey, Sir John is the key to their plot hook. So and they go chasing after Sir John, and we basically cut to the village where Sir John is basically being tossed out of the village for being a coward.
Yes, because he was the protector of the village.
Yeah.
One thing, their HR team needs to really reevaluate who they're going to have as protector of the village. I mean, I wouldn't have hired this guy in the first place.
Well, apparently he pulled the wool over their eyes, and, he got the job.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "You know what? You're out. You're banished. You're vanquished." And then he's just like, "But Dad, we have..." And then we see he has a son, which we don't know his name just yet. But he's just like, "But we have nowhere to go, and this was our last chance." And then the HR, the village, goes, "Well, all right."
Give us one more chance. And they're like, well...
He's like, "If you could do one brave act to prove yourself, you can stay."
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes off on his quest to find one brave act.
Yes.
And he just
Only
takes,
one.
he takes off.
Where can I find an old lady I can help her cross the road?
The group pretty much gives up their quest to find Sir John and starts heading their way towards the valley through, like, which only can be described as Journey to the Center of the Earth when they first get down there with all the mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way I could describe that whole scene, because that's what it looks like to me from the movie. And I don't know. And then
The
this
mushroom forest.
Right,
this
yeah,
would-
this is where, if this was an AD&D game, there would be myconids everywhere.
Yeah. But these
And
creatures,
veggie-pygmies.
Yeah.
these snail creatures that come and attack them while they're in there,
Yeah.
they actually have that statted up or no?
I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either.
I couldn't find snails with Wonder Woman's lasso.
Well,
I don't know if it was
these,
one of those
these
last.
snail men or snail people where
Yeah.
they shoot like sticky tendrils out of these tentacles on top of their heads.
And they
they-
capture the entire group, but stupid uni.
Stupid unit.
And they throw them all in a sack.
Yeah, they instead of wrapping them in these Wonder Woman lasso things, they just like,
They
man,
throw
we're
them
gonna
in sacks.
just gonna throw you in a sack. Why do they
Well,
have sacks?
throwing Uni in a sack kind of would have been pointless anyway, because Uni does have a horn.
That
Yes.
is true. But Uni
So-
manages to be cunning and roll her dexterity like checks and everything, and save
Yes,
versus
cunning.
something or other.
Uni, what's that? The party's been captured by snails?
And then Uni gets away, and camera cuts back to Sir John holding up a torch. Oh, I forgot to mention that Hank figures out that the snail people are vulnerable to light, so he starts shooting his stupid bow into the air, which basically just deters them for like a half a second, and they inevitably just fall to the group. So the snail creatures pretty much capture them. So, okay, Uni gets away. We cut back to Sir John heading the same exact way they were, looking for brave things. And he literally says, where can I find a brave? Is this a brave? No, this is not a brave thing. And then Uni shows up and does the whole Lassie thing, as Matt was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And he understands everything and says he's not going to help. But then Uni is just like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to grab your torch and run with it. And, of course, he's in the dark, so he's scared. So he follows the light with Uni. And Uni leads him towards the snail creatures, which is kind of weird how this sequence happens. Uni runs in there and drops the torch, which Sir John stumbles into it, picks up the torch, and starts waving it around madly. And the snail creatures go, eek! And they all run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how you defeat the snail creatures?
Yeah.
These
Yeah, just
big,
hold the
badass
torch.
snail creatures are scared of the torch.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
feel-
I mean, pretty much, yes, our knight here is Forrest Gumping his way through brave actions.
And so he waves around with his eyes closed, hand over his eye, and he's just waving his torch around wildly. Then he peeks out and notices they're gone just as the group gets their way out of the sacks and goes, oh my god, look, it's Sir John. He saved us again. And he does his whole, yes, I did. I am so brave. And the thief after that, Diana is her name, right? Diana, yeah. Says to Sir John, well, we really don't have anything to give you because we really haven't found any gold in this cartoon or this adventure. Our DM is stingy because he keeps throwing Tiamat at us. But here, let me pull this flower off the ground and here's your reward. And he takes it and goes, cool, and puts it on his, I guess, the equivalent of his lapel, his
Yes.
armor.
Yeah.
Because it just fits. I don't know. I didn't get that. But he was just like, hey, yeah. And they're like, hey, we need you to come with us to the Valley of the Beholder and help us with the situation. And, you're a brave knight. You can do it. And he's just like, well, I don't even have a shield or my weapons. I need to go back home and get them. And then Presto says, hey, no, wait. And then Hank's like, you can give him something, right? And he pulls open his hat and he says, yeah, I'll get him a shield. And he conjures a trash can lid.
Yeah.
At like 1980 metal, disgusting trash can lid that they use in like wrestling. Remember?
Yeah.
I'm sure, Matt, you got hit in the head with those a bunch of times.
No, I've managed to avoid that because
Okay.
bad things happen with those.
Yeah.
Like concussions.
Also, they tend to get kind of sharp,
Yeah.
especially if you hit them with the wrong side of it, and you get the little bolts that hold the handle. It'll split you open real good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't
actually,
sound good.
speaking of that, the trash can lid looks like it is sharp the way they drew it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. So then Eric picks up and goes, yeah, this is a shield. Here you go, buddy. And he's just like, oh, sure.
Like, okay.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird. He's just like, okay, it's a shield. So he's holding it like a shield as the group is walking. And they're like, well, we've been walking all this time. Do we have a plan? He's just like, I'm a doer, not a planner. You plan and I'll do. And he just says, I'll go scout ahead while you guys plan.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand what exactly he was doing, but I figured he was trying to use it as an excuse to try to run away.
I think so.
Would you guys get the same impression that he was just trying to run away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured so. And he's like, whatever he's doing, and then all of a sudden Avenger pops up out of nowhere, and he on his little, I think it was a Pegasus, right? He's on his little Pegasus horse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he's just like, you will lead the group to the Beholder Cave and then leave. And I'm just like, he's thinking to himself,
Basically writing a nightmare.
yeah, pretty much. And then you will leave. And I'm thinking he was probably going to do that anyway. Did you really need to come up and convince him to do that? I mean, really? The guy would have ran anyway, dude. And he's just like, I can't do that. And he's like, you have to. And he shows him like a little cloud bubble of his son in a cage surrounded by like wolves, dire wolves, I think. Am I right?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking either, dire wolves. They kind of looked like hyenas.
yeah, they kind of reminded me of the hyenas from Lion King.
Yeah. And his son apparently can see him as he can see his son. And Dad. So Sir John's just like, all right, I'll do it. And he runs off back to the group, and he's just like, all right, let's go. The plan. You guys have a plan, right? And they're like, well, yeah. And they start to pretty much kind of tell him a plan, but he just kind of takes off with the group towards the Beholder Cave. And he's just like, hey, the Beholder's right there. See ya. And he takes off. And they're like, but...
Oh, there it is. Good, good luck.
Yeah. I only said I was going to bring you to the cave. I never said I would help fight him. And he just takes off. Group is pissed, but Hank rationalizes and says, well, he did show us the way. And they're just like, oh, you're right. Okay.
These are very understanding.
Yes.
Kids of the 80s are really understanding. They didn't really care. So
Yeah.
So the kids go after, and they meet up with the Beholder, and I don't get this whole sequence with the Beholder, because the Beholder is supposed to be this badass creature in D&D. Every edition, he's always been a super huge big deal. They block every one of his damn rays with the bow, the shield, the bow staff, everything. Even Bobby's club blocks it.
Yeah, like all these weird laser blasts come out. And by the way, they made the Beholder just like a gray color. I'm like, that's just lazy animation. Come on, guys.
But those beams aren't... Well, if you think about the Beholder, those are either what? Disintegration rays, or their is it enfeeblement ray, and what's the other one? Paralyzation?
Yeah, petrification.
Petrification, that's it, yeah.
I know it has, a ray of enfeeblement.
Mm-hmm.
It has a death ray. I know that.
Yeah.
I think the center eye's the death ray.
That's the anti-magic one, I thought.
Oh, okay.
But so then we cut back to Sir John, who's debating life as we know it, because he's just like, I shouldn't have done that, but I had to do it.
I'm such a coward. Why did I do that?
And then Venger shows up and says, thanks, here's your boy back, but I can't keep him anymore because he's probably more brave than you ever will be in your life because you're such a coward.
He said that he's much braver than you.
Yeah. And basically his son says to him, what happened to the group? They're with the Beholder. And he's like, we got to go help them. You can do it. And he takes off.
Yeah.
Bringing Sir John with him. And then we see the group is in major trouble now because the Beholder has these, I don't know what the hell they are.
Shooting like webs out?
I think so. He's like got them entangled in those lasso things, but they're white this time, coming out of his stalks.
Yeah.
And they're like, I guess, confined there. And I'm just thinking to myself, what? Since when does a Beholder have that? I mean, I understand it's a cartoon, but that's not even close.
It's Beholderkin.
Right.
It's not a true Beholder.
It's a
Yeah,
Beholderkin.
when you can't actually have any real physical violence against anything that even resembles a human, you gotta do some changes here.
Yeah. Well, just to refresh everybody, all the stalks on the Beholder, the eye stalks in the central eye, charm person, charm monster, sleep, telekinesis 2,500 gold pieces, flesh the stone ray, disintegration ray, fear, slow spell, cause serious wounds. That's maybe what the laser blasts were. Death ray,
I thought so.
and then anti-magic ray.
Okay. Yeah, so that's probably the center eye is the anti-magic ray, I'm thinking.
I think so. I think it is.
I know it was in
Is it
later
kind of-
editions, but I can't think offhand.
No, I think you're right. It is. The center eye is the anti-magic ray because it has a very long range, like 14 inches, which is up to 140 feet.
So then Sir John is looking down off the cliff there as they're in peril, and he jumps down to try to help them, fumbles around with his shield a bit, and then I guess the beholder sees the flower and just starts freaking out over the flower on his lapel.
Well, yeah, he grabs it. He's like, "Oh, I'll wave it in his face," because beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And that's what Dungeon
Yeah.
Master told them.
Yes, he did. Because Dungeon Master is what? A dick.
Mhm.
And then the beholder is just like, ah, and melts.
Yes, and melts into
Yes,
the
he
ground.
Yeah. It's like
And
someone.
melting.
And then here comes another scene. The beholder melts, and then a portal instantly opens up right behind where he was, back to the stupid amusement park where they have to go back to their world.
Yeah.
The group's like, yay, and Eric is like, I'm
I
out.
can smell the hamburgers.
Yeah. He's like, I'm out, and he starts running through there. The rest of the group, and Bobby's like, well, we can't leave uni. I'm like,
Ugh.
And Hank is like,
Yes, we can.
yeah, Hank is
Bobby's
like, he
original
doesn't.
Brony.
Hank is like, he doesn't belong in our world. We need to leave him. He'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Venger shows up, and Sir John is using the garbage can lid to defend himself.
Then that gets blown away.
Yeah. So then the group is like, we gotta help him. I feel bad, and the group kind of leaves the little portal thing as it's starting to get smaller, and Eric is in there debating: should I go? Should I stay? Should I go?
Should I stay or should I go now?
Yeah. So the group helps out, and Eric is like, fine, I'll just stay. And then the portal closes. And the group helps, and they chase Venger away because Venger apparently gets scared like his shadow at this point.
Well,
so.
he gets blasted by a red beam, but you don't know who shot it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Who shot the red beam?
You don't know. You can guess
Okay.
it was Dungeon Master, I think.
So was that...
Got to keep the thing on the rails.
Yep.
So
Because
Dungeon Master
is what?
a dick?
A dick.
He wasn't he didn't want to TPK him, so he had to do some convoluted things
Yep.
to keep the story moving. Because
Yep.
we are on a choo-choo train.
Woo-woo.
Did the group even notice the red ray that shot him, or they just kind of went, all right, he's gone?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they even noticed. They were just like, whatever, we did it, yay.
He's dead. He's gone or whatever.
They're probably looking over their shoulder expecting a Tiamat run in.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it wasn't. It was I would suspect it was Dungeon Master who did that.
I can only guess. I mean, unless there was an NPC there, hiding at the grassy knoll, shooting at Venger or something.
Yes. Yes.
We need the
It was
Zikri
Mordekainen.
Yeah.
It was Mordekainen in the grassy knoll with
yeah.
a magic missile spell.
version. Or was there a second magician in Leomund around the corner?
Could have been. Could have been.
Yeah.
We never find out. But yeah, I totally forgot about the red zap, and yeah, that's how much it was really. Maybe it was actually Hank's arrow, and it was an animation mistake.
I don't think so. I think they allude to it was Dungeon Master because as when they all go walking away into the sunset, whatever, blah blah blah, you hear Dungeon Master's voice and he kind of like chuckles.
Mm.
So I think it was Dungeon Master.
Oh, and then you see as the portal finally closes, Venger goes away. The beholder goos himself back into the crack of the ground.
I know, which was really lame.
And then the flowers pop up, the forest comes back, the crack closes. I'm just
It's sort of like a country song when you play the play the record backwards. You get your house back, you get your wife back.
Yeah, they deflated the beholder, and now everything goes back to how it was. Yeah, it's basically they took the little stopper in back of it and just popped it so all the air got let out of the beholder.
So he's like,
balloon. It wasn't actually a beholder. It was just a balloon shooting with some lights built in.
no, it was a pool toy. That's what it was for pool parties.
It pretty much acted like one.
Yeah, and then the adventure, yeah, it's really an adventure. Then the show just kind of ends, and then walking off into, I don't know, the wonderful valley sunset. The end. And you hear Dungeon Master chuckle, like you said.
Yeah, that's why I think they kind of alluded to it was Dungeon Master that shot that red bolt. Because I think you see later on in the series when he does battle with Venger, he has little red bolts that come out of his hands.
I was going to say that. Doesn't he shoot red bolts? So, yeah. So, apparently Dungeon Master did do it. We discovered it. Yay.
Yeah. Because Dungeon Master is what?
A dick?
Dick.
Yeah. We should probably, find someone that wrote one of these episodes and to ask them a whole bunch of questions.
Why'd you make Dungeon Master such a dick?
And why was Tiamat such a dumbass? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually do have a little documentary that was on the DVD set as a special feature to watch.
Okay.
So maybe there's some insight into that.
Maybe.
In there.
Oh, there you go.
Was it that red box set they did 10 years ago or so? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I don't have that one.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Is that the one where they were statted out with 3.5 as well?
I think so.
There was a book in there. It might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
So what'd you guys think of that episode?
As far as I don't think it was terrible. You got to see two, other D&D monsters on the television screen. You got to see a blue dragon. You got to see a quote-unquote beholder. I mean, it's funny how they made the blue dragon really well, but the beholder was fell flat, Yeah. I'm like, that's not a beholder. That's a beholder wannabe.
I could just imagine Gary sitting there while he's looking over the script and he's like, oh, okay, beholder. And he's thinking in his mind, oh, he's going to do this or that. He's got the storyboard going. And they're like, yeah, no, make him gray. No, he shoots string.
Imagine, it's like Death Ray. We can't do that.
Nope. Silly string.
Yes.
What?
Oh, you know what? You can find the documentary on YouTube. It is on YouTube.
Didn't you say all the episodes are on YouTube? Someone has them posted up?
Yes, you can watch them all on YouTube as well.
I think this would make a really cool adventure so change it up a little bit and maybe get rid of the beholder entirely because that's just, I don't know. I can't see there has to be a reason why the valley turned to all crap because of the beholder.
Yeah, maybe the beholder did something, desecrated something, and taking it over, and that's why everything fell apart because the beholder wants to rule that land or whatever, and he took out the nymph that was keeping things nice and gardening.
Gardening?
I
think that it's still a fairly decent premise. You maybe got a village nearby this valley, and it's been taken over by a beholder. And the build up on this beholder has, has minions. Maybe it's working together with a blue dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also a giant.
And then
maybe
your wandering monsters, the scorpion.
You got a giant scorpion, but maybe it's working in conjunction with this blue dragon. Like the blue dragon's I'm in charge of keeping everybody outside of your valley as long as I get to keep whatever, treasure I can get from those folks trying to come in.
Yeah.
And then you get to this, this village in the valley, and they have this one warrior, paladin, whatever, but he is a wuss. The lack of better term. Maybe you could turn it around and maybe he's
captured,
not so much a wuss, but maybe he's just reluctant to fight because something bad happened to him in his past.
Or
maybe
he's bitter.
Maybe that's why we don't know who the wife is.
He's bitter.
Right.
Maybe
maybe, or something happened where the paladin's actually fallen due to whatever happened when the land got corrupted. He lost faith.
Maybe his wife, because we know he has a son.
Yeah.
Maybe his wife, he didn't save her or something like that. And
Right, he has the guilt where he didn't
Uh-huh.
save her, and he
Right.
wasn't able to save the land, and
Right.
you have to basically give him the pep talk, and part of it is his redemption story,
Mm-hmm.
which is so eerily Rumpelstiltskin and Balefire from Once Upon a Time, the TV show.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Like I said, ahead of its time.
yeah,
And then you go to this valley. You have some other encounters, but you have to defeat the beholder. You have to go into its underground lair.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, you actually have to go into that giant crevice that opened up and have that be.
You know,
Beholder's
and
lair.
maybe some of his minions are those snail people.
Ooh, yeah, snail people. I
you
like
think?
that. Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, in the underground caverns, absolutely. You'll have
See, you could work with this.
Yeah.
There's some kernels you could work with, and they could blossom into something really beautiful.
A little nugget can be made into something beautiful.
Yes, because there's beauty with that, and its beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And the question is, do you keep that one
You're not, like, quickly went over the beholder, whatever.
do you keep the vulnerability of if you present a petunia to the beholder, it just withers away?
No.
That's
Absolutely
too
not.
freaking stupid.
It's fine for a
sorry.
cartoon, but not for an adventure.
No.
That would be hilarious if you just had some really obscure but random like vulnerability that you don't even really mention it. But
I
if
got
the
it.
players happen to
it.
do it, they wither away.
I got it. Prismatic sphere.
Oh,
Okay, that works.
It's vulnerable to prismatic sphere. No one would even guess.
right.
You know that every adventure you run, people are going to do that now, Nick. They're going to cast that spell because they heard you say it.
Damn it.
Yes, they just ruined your plans.
Or not prismatic, but chromatic orb, or
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
something like that. Chromatic orb.
All right,
Something
cool.
of that nature.
I guess tell us what you think. RFIstaff@gmail.com, RFIpodcast.com. Leave a comment or go to our Facebook page and Facebook.com/RFIpodcast and tell us what you think about this episode. And we'll continue along this trek of watching the cartoons and giving our reviews and thoughts and opinions about them. We'll be back again next time for another adventure with Dungeons and Dragons. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
But that's all, folks.
Good night.
Roll for initiative.